Hello, BookTube. This is Weekly Reads. I've had a fantastic reading week. I read 24 volumes of manga, 12 volumes during the weekend, and 12 volumes during the rest of the work week. So during the weekend, I read the 12 volumes of Black Clover that I had to get caught up. So volumes 24 through 35. And during the work week, I read an assortment of volumes to make 12. So let's start with Black Clover by Yuki Tabata. Black Clover is about a young man named Asta, who was born without magic in a world in which everybody has magical powers. Despite this handicap, Asta aspires to join the Magic Knights and eventually become the Wizard King, the supreme commander of magical knights in the Clover Kingdom. Asta's foster brother, is a prodigy when it comes to magic. Even as a child, he had tremendous magical abilities, and when the young people are a certain age, they go to claim a grimoire, which will allow them to add new spells to the book, as well as use spells that have already been included in the grimoire. Gets a 4-leaf clover with a wind specialty, and Asta doesn't get a grimoire initially. However, a thief attempts to steal Yuno's grimoire, and during the confrontation, Asta gains a grimoire, a black grimoire. And this grimoire possesses within it the power of anti-magic, which takes the form of a gigantic sword. This allows Asta, alongside Yuno, to join the Magic Knights. While Yuno joins the Golden Dawn, the most prestigious of the orders of Magic Knights, Asta joins the Black Vols, the most disreputable of the Magic Knight orders, whose members are mostly outcasts. So these 12 volumes begin after a time skip. For the first part of the series, the main antagonist faction was a terrorist organization called the Eye of the Midnight Sun, which sought to punish the Clover Kingdom for its sins. Recurring antagonists are agents of the Diamond Kingdom, a rival kingdom to the Clover Kingdom that routinely tries to pick at its neighbors. With the time skip, a number of Magic Knights have journeyed to the Heart Kingdom for extra training, and to eventually launch a joint operation against the Spade Kingdom, which has, in the 6-month interval, begun to conquer the border regions between the 4 main kingdoms and has largely conquered the Diamond Kingdom. The Spade Kingdom is ruled by a triumvirate of siblings, the Dark Triad, who, long before the series began, overthrew the, at the time, royal family, and have believed to have killed all members of that family. Although this Spade Kingdom arc reveals that one of our main characters is actually a Spade Kingdom prince. And that reveal is amazingly done. And I'll get to that. So the arc begins with Asta and the members of the Magic Knights who've journeyed to the Heart Kingdom, launching raids against Spade Kingdom positions, while the Dark Triad launches a kidnapping expedition into the Clover Kingdom as well as the Heart Kingdom. So this initial engagement results in a 2 out of 1 victory for the Spade Kingdom, for the Dark Triad. From there, the vice captain of the Black Bulls is introduced. He had been spying on the Spade Kingdom, and he sets in motion Asta gain training with the demon trapped in his grimoire, and them forming a partnership, and for a massive counterattack between the combined forces of Clover and Heart. And so, alongside the Spade Kingdom resistance. So, there's an invasion, and how it breaks out. And one of Tabata's strengths as a writer is his ability to successfully juggle the various confrontations during these sort of extended war storylines. So the Spade capital is protected by a demon. The thing about the Dark Triad is that there are demon hosts. And so Mario Leona takes on this demon. Another demon is sent to attack the Spade Kingdom. I mean, not the Spade Kingdom, the Clover Kingdom. The vice captain of the Black Bulls, who's an amazing character, is paired up with Jack to take on the eldest of the Dark Triad, Dante, who was the actual one lost when it came to trying to kidnap Captain Yami of the Black Bulls. He was defeated by Yami and Asta. And Dante's looking forward to having a rematch with Asta. Meanwhile, Yuno and Langris take on the youngest brother, the youngest sibling, Xenon, with Yuno having a rematch with him because Xenon defeated Yuno during his kidnapping of the Black Bulls, not the Black Bulls, the Golden Dawn's captain, William Vengeance. Meanwhile, Charlotte and Ree take on Vanica, the middle sibling and the only girl. So these fights rage. So the Demon Triad's goal is to open a doorway into the underworld, allowing demons to manifest in the mortal world for some unknown reason. And that's pointed out that these three idiots really have no real reason for doing what they're doing, except because they want to, because they just want to have fun and make everybody as miserable as possible. So this is the first sort of grouping attack. Later, the Black Bulls, as well as other Clover Kingdom and Heart Kingdom forces join the battle, as well as Asta. He has some more training to do. And so Asta, when he enters the battle, takes out the demons and to attack the Clover Kingdom, as well as several other demons. Dante does not get his rematch with Asta. He is actually paired off eventually with Magna, one of Asta's comrades in the Black Bulls, and that is amazing. It is wonderful. Finral joins Langris and Yuno in their fight with Xenon, although Finral and Langris are eventually taken out, and Yuno manages to defeat Xenon on his own, which is amazing. I'm going to show you images of that. That is just wonderful. And Noelle and her older brother Nozzle join the fight against Vanica, with the main kind of fight between Noelle and Vanica during the Heart Kingdom assault and here, and that is a wonderful fight as well. Unfortunately, the King of Demons manages to escape, and everybody joins in on fighting that piece of poo. And eventually it turns into Asta, Yuno, Yami, Noct kind of tag teaming or quadruple teaming that piece of poo and eventually defeating him. And that is amazing. And then there's another time skip where about a year and a half later, or a year and, yeah, maybe a year, I think it's a year, yeah, it'd be a year and a half later. At this point, Asta is promoted to a Magic Knight First Class. There's some bitterness because he really should have been promoted at the same rate that Yuno had been to a Grand Magic Knight. But unfortunately, given that Asta is himself a demon host and was scapegoated for the first part of the story's arc, that he didn't get quite promoted as much as he should have. At this point, it is revealed that there were actually 4 siblings to the Dark Triad, and the 4th one had been masquerading as somebody of immense power and responsibility in the Clover Kingdom that everybody looked up to. And he is an even bigger poo than his siblings. And he begins a massive assault on the world, and Asta is sent to the land of the sun, the land that Captain Yami comes from, which is modeled on Japan. And there he begins to train in how to better utilize his anti-magic abilities before eventually returning to the Clover Kingdom to help turn the tide against this 4th Zogratis sibling, the surname of the Dark Triad. I had a blast with these 12 volumes. Black Clover is one of my favorite series. I'm a bit saddened that I'm going to have to wait till sometime in January to read volume 36, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to where the story goes now that it's entering its final arc. So anyway, let's look at some pictures, some images. So this is a map of the main setting. This is the Clover Kingdom. This is the Diamond Kingdom mostly being conquered. Heart's over here, and this is Spade. Okay, and here are the Dark Triad. This is Dante, that's Venica, and this here is Xenon. And there's you now. There, just. No, here. Oh yeah. There. There. And then I really like that. And in this particular chapter, chapter 308, I love how, even though in the table of contents it's sort of spoiled by, um, but I really like how in the chapter itself, the chapter title doesn't come until the very end. It's just amazing. Just. Just, it was. Like, it's just wonderful. I do not know what I will do with myself between now and when volume 36 comes out. Oh. Now, hopefully, they don't tip over because they've been wanting to tip over. Okay, so moving on to the other 12. I also reread the first 4 volumes of Demons of the Shadow Realm by Hiromu Arakawa, as well as reading the just released 5th volume. So, Demons of the Shadow Realm is about 2 twins, Yuru and Asa. They are born in a village hidden away in Japan that's been lost to time. The village is very much as a village of a more ancient Japan would have been like, even though there are contexts to the modern world. Um, Yuru and Asa were born at that moment between night and day, and this gives them special abilities. Yuru has spent his life outside amongst the villagers, while Asa has been imprisoned in the castle keep. Their parents have disappeared 10 years ago. One day, the seal that protects, or barrier that protects the village is broken, and outsiders storm in to attack. Leading the assault is a young woman who claims to be the real Asa, with the Asa imprisoned being an imposter. And she's attacking the village to reunite with Yuru. Yuru is rescued by a man named Dara, who works as sort of a courier for the village. He lives in the outside world, and he will make periodic trips to the village. And he escapes the village with Yuru, but before that, he binds two guardian demons who protect the village to Yuru's service. They're the divine left and right. And so they flee the village and enter the modern world. And a lot of the humor is trying to get Yuru up to speed on what the world is like outside of the village. And it's quite hilarious. Yuru is very curious about whether or not this woman claiming to be his younger sister is in fact his sister. And so he goes out in search of her using the abilities of right and left. His sister has been taken in by the Kakamoris, an offshoot of the village that he came from, who disapprove of the village's direction and goals. And Yuru comes into conflict with the Kakamoris and is eventually convinced to travel to the Kakamori compound to meet with Asa and to try to figure out what happened to his parents. It's revealed that Yuru and Asa's parents fled the village with Asa 10 years ago, and that something else took Asa's place to keep Yuru bound to the village. Also, periodically, when Yuru left the village to go out hunting, he would be attacked by bandits seeking to kill him. And while Yuru is with the Kakamoris, the Kakamori compound is attacked by a number of assailants wielding demons of their own. And after this assault is seen off, Dera arrives to collect Yuru, and an arrangement is made between Yuru and the head of the Kagamoris that they will sort of pass on information, work together to try to find Yuru and Asa's parents, and to sort of keep each other abreast of any sort of assault plans against the other. Because the Kakamoris care for Asa and are trying to prevent her from being killed. And also, the people around Yuru would prefer that Yuru not be killed. Because while the two main factions are the Kagamoris and the Higashi village, there are factions within both that do not see eye to eye with the rest of their respective groups, and there may also be other factions at play as well. After Yuru leaves the Kagamori compound, he and Dera go shopping and notice that they're being tailed. So Dera leads the tails to a hidden safe house where they are accosted by two demons. And those demons are killed, and their master is found, and it's revealed to be Dera's long lost younger brother, or unknown younger brother. And so he's added to this family. And Dera then goes to another one of his contacts to try to find his father, who may know where Uranus's parents are. And he is assaulted by a mercenary demon wielder who gains a way to Higashi village. He launches an attack, and it's revealed that the fake Asa, as well as a friend of Yuru's, are themselves demons. One meant to impersonate Asa, the other one as a sort of bodyguard for Yuru. And so this leads to a hostage situation and a hostage exchange. And ultimately, where Volume 5 ends is with Yuru being captured by one of the Kagemori brothers and his uncle for unknown purposes. And I really enjoyed rereading the first 4 volumes and reading the 5th volume. It was just really fun. And I love the characters. And then here's Gabby. She works for the Kagamoris, and she is quite hilarious. And I actually didn't notice until this reading that while it's fairly obvious if you're familiar with Arakawa's Fullmetal Alchemist, that Yuru is very visually resembles her character Hawkeye from Fullmetal Alchemist. I did not actually notice that Gabby very much resembles Edward Elric. If Edward is very sort of reminiscent of Edward Elric. So yeah. Yeah. So I had a blast. Yeah, so I had a blast with this. Okay, moving on. Because when I talk about manga, these weekly reads do tend to go on a little bit long. So let's move on to Bleach by Tite Kubo. So I read volumes 4, 5, and 6 of Bleach this week. So Bleach is one of the great manga series. It's about a young man named Ichigo Kurosaki who can see ghosts and interact with them. One day he meets a soul reaper, a shinigami named Rukia Kuchiki, who is hunting a hollow. This hollow attacks. Rukia is injured and she grants or passes on her power to Ichigo to sort of to take out the hollow. However, she passed all of her power to Ichigo, leaving her powerless, and Ichigo having to take her place as a Soul Reaper. In these volumes, Ichigo meets Yurio Ishida, a Quincy who has a grudge against the Soul Reapers, and Yurio irresponsibly challenges Ichigo to a hollow hunting competition that causes significant amounts of chaos during the arc, and ultimately these volumes end with Rukia being captured by her comrades in the Soul Reapers from Soul Society. Really enjoyed these volumes, although the first part of Volume 4 is a bit weird because there's a spiritualist called Don Kononji who comes to Karakura Town, which is a ward of Tokyo, to sort of to exercise a spirit. And what he does is create a hollow. And this leads to him meeting Ichigo and a very weird character being added to the cast. Okay. Also, during these volumes, Ichigo's friends Chad and Orihime begin to develop their powers and will eventually join the Ichigo in his battles. Oh yeah, so I had a blast. These. And I also like how Ichigo and Yuryu sort of settled their differences. See if I can get a good. No, really fun. I also read two other new releases for August. Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 23 by Gege Akutami. So this is the story of a young man named, I am certainly blanking, Yuji Itadori, who joins his school's occult club. One of the members finds a rotten finger. This rotten finger belonged to an evil sorcerer named Sukuna, who lived centuries ago. This cursed finger invites an assault on the school by a cursed spirit, who's seeking the finger to gain more power for himself. This spirit is engaged by Megumi, a student Jujutsu sorcerer. Yuji ends up eating the finger and becomes temporarily possessed by Sukuna. And so the Sukuna possessed Yuji defeats the cursed spirit and then begins to attack Megumi when Megumi's teacher Gojo arrives to save the day. Yuji is taken into custody and is set to be executed. However, Gojo successfully argues that since Yuji can survive and come out of being possessed by Sukuna, that perhaps it would be wise to have Yuji eat the rest of Sukuna's fingers before he's executed. And so there's 19 more fingers to go because Sukuna had 4 arms. So Yuji joins the Jujutsu school in Tokyo and becomes a student Jujutsu sorcerer. After a certain, at this point, an evil being named Kenjaku has gathered together a number of cursed spirits and evil sorcerers to launch an assault on Shibuya, which leads to the destruction of much of Tokyo and the beginning of the Culling Game, in which latent sorcerers and people possessed by ancient sorcerers come together to fight life and death duels for points and power. For some odd reason, Kenjaku's goals are a bit mysterious. In these volumes, Yuji and his allies are consulting with one of these reincarnate sorcerers who may be able to help them against Sukuna. However, her help involves the death of Sukuna, which would mean the death of Yuji, even though he's come to accept it, that he has to die to defeat Sukuna. Also, Kenjaku, before he launched his assault on Shibuya, went to the United States government and revealed the presence of cursed energy and sorcerers, and arguing that if the U.S. government would send a small force to sort of one of these Culling Game sites to acquire some sorcerers so that they can utilize cursed energy as a resource, it would be great. Although for what actual end will be revealed in volume 24. The final part of this volume sees Kenjaku launching an assault on the school, the Jujutsu school in Tokyo, to acquire a Tengen, a higher up in Jujutsu society. He's a wizard, sorcerer who has become over the centuries more and more like a cursed spirit. Tengen is protected by Yuki and Choso. Choso is a cursed spirit who is somehow or other the older brother of Yuji. They try to defeat Kenjaku, and Kenjaku ultimately wins. when this volume ends. This was amazing. I really enjoyed um, this volume. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was fun. Okay. And also read Four Nights of the Apocalypse, Volume 12 by Nakaba Suzuki. So this is the follow-on series to the Seven Deadly Sins. In this series, four young superhuman knights are foretold to bring about the downfall of a corrupted King Arthur and his fake Camelot. In this volume, the Four Knights of the Apocalypse and their companions have entered the demon realm, looking for a shortcut to Camelot. It is revealed that Percival, when he was much younger, somehow found his way into the demon realm and was for some time taken care of by Zeldris, the king of the demon realm, and his queen Gilda. Also, during this arc, Gawain engages in combat with some Chaos Knights who have also invaded the demon realm. And there's a monster launching an attack and some other chaos. And so much of this volume is dedicated to Percival and his platoon training before they tackle this rampaging behemoth and the Chaos Knights and try to find their way into Camelot. So this is all building up to some major events in Volume 14. And I also really enjoy the some of the characterizations that goes on, particularly with Anne and Nason's. That was fun. And finally, I read 2 volumes of Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui. So Delicious in so volumes 2 and 3. So Delicious in Dungeon is about a group of adventurers exploring a dungeon when one of their members is killed and eaten by a red dragon. Since they can't afford to resupply or hire more party members, the group Leos, Marceline, and Chilchuk have to remain in the dungeon and try to fight their way to this red dragon to rescue Leos' sister Fallon. But how can they do that with no money to buy food? That's when Leos' interest in dungeon cuisine is sparked, as well as their meeting with Shinshi, a dwarf who lives in the dungeon and has sort of discovered how to cook the various monsters and creatures and plants that inhabit the dungeon. And so the quartet go on a journey to rescue Fallon while encountering all sorts of monsters and beings in the dungeon and figuring out how to cook them. And this series is a hoot. I love the first volume and really enjoyed these volumes as well. So in this volume, initially they make a trade with some ogres to make bread and as a way to gain a map to the ogre's village. They also rescue a party of adventurers and cook the treasure insects that killed them. They also cook a kelpie. And Leos tries to eat painted food. And in volume 3, the big thing is, how do you cook Kraken? So yeah, it was a blast. Okay. So that's all that I read. Now I'm going to do a blitz of what I will be reading this coming reading week. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to read any more manga. I'm going to take a bit of a break from manga until maybe mid-September. Unless there are a lot of bells, in which case I might read some manga here and there. But I will report back about that. So tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do. For September 1st, I'm going to start with Evil Under the Sun by Agatha Christie, which I should be able to do in a day, and then I'll watch the movie Sunday night. And then on Monday, I will read Glitter Road by Genuine Gill O'Neill. And then try to bell redeem The Life and Times of Michael K. and Cathedral by Raymond Carver. Anyway, BookTube, this has been an insanely long video, so I am going to sign off for now. So thank you. Have a great rest of your evening and weekend. And until I see you hopefully on Monday, stay safe.